Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Wire and Electronics podcast, where we discuss what's happening in your industry. I'm your host, Jalen Barnes. Today we're talking about home automation. I know a lot of security installers, but not all of them do home automation. Actually, I have clients who install cameras and that's it. And then I have a separate set of clients who just install home automation equipment and that's it. But they should not be separate. If you can do both, you should do both. If it's a matter of lack of education, then that's why I'm here and why I have today's guest, Chris Hummell, with me. Chris is a Northeast Territory Manager for Kwikset, a manufacturer of some awesome home automation equipment, particularly door locks. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Jalen, how are you?
Doing good, doing good. So I'm happy to have you here today because I feel like you're a pro on this topic and you're going to be able to teach us some stuff.
I guess I would consider myself a pro since I deal with it every day. Thanks for having me on the show.
And not a problem. So let's begin with, I want you to give me a simple overview of what home automation is.
So home automation today really is something affordable that the end user or the consumer can actually use. It's basically something that controls your lights, your locks, your thermostat, your garage door. There's video doorbells out there today. They're actually part of your home automation. And there's a lot of really other devices that are out there. There's hundreds of different types of home automation devices that really it simplifies the homeowner's lifestyle and makes things a lot easier. Where you can actually control them not only from your smartphone, but you can also control them from a computer. So, that's a pretty good description of what a simple home automation is today.
Yeah, and I mean, every product I see, to put it like this, I guess it's all the stuff we used to have to get up, walk over to the wall, and turn the switch on and off. Now we can do it without moving. We can just do it from a phone. We can do it from a computer. We can do it anywhere, right?
That's true. And you could also set them up by schedules. Like at my house, I know that my son gets up at 6:30 in the morning to get ready and go to school. So I have actually a home automation switch on in his bedroom that will turn the light on to 100% in his bedroom at 6:29. To kind of get him up and ready for school. In that aspect, I'm kind of using it like an alarm clock.
Gotcha. And that's what I've always liked about home automation, the creativity for the end user. And so this wasn't a part of my original set of questions, but I do want to ask, is home automation getting easier or more complex to use for the end user? I mean, can someone do this themselves? Do they need to have an installer to hold their hand throughout the whole process? Like, where does that come in?
So, I always say always let the professionals do it. There is people out there that are tech savvy that might be able to do it themselves, and the market's open up to them if they can do it. But we find at Kwikset from the statistics that we read that home automation, is generally installed by a professional, whether it be a home automation specialist or even a security installer. We find that those types of professionals are the ones that are generally doing the home automation.
Gotcha. Now, as for the actual managing of it, it's in place, I guess it's kind of a loaded question because there are so many different platforms you can use, and you can mix and match things with different manufacturers. But just generally speaking, how does that work? Is that something that individuals it's easier for them to do? Does it get harder as we keep adding on new technology?
So, you can go as high as complex as a full-blown home automation system, or you could do something that's simple. I feel, that, it is easy to program. And I think the manufacturers are starting to find out that they need to make it user-friendly for the end users to make changes. So on a scale of 1 to 10, on 10 being the hardest and 1 being the easiest, I would say home automation programming today is probably more like a 4.
Gotcha. Well, I'll say this. I have people who come in off the street, and they'll notice some of our home automation equipment. They'll go down the aisle where we've got Kwikset standing there, and they'll ask me questions about install and things like that. And even my knowledge personally can get limited. There's a certain wall that they'll hit, and I'll say, I can help you, but there's only a certain place I'm gonna be able to take you. And then at that point, I need to pass them on to one of my clients who are installers, who are dealers. Because one thing I can definitely say is, one, you want someone who's done this many times before, who can handle the intricacies and the problems and the challenges that, a YouTube video isn't going to be able to tell you, trying to get a tutorial teaching you how to do it. And also, they're going to be able to show you some cool tips and tricks that they've learned along the way. Because one thing I've learned is that some of my friends who are installers is that there's lots of things that you don't think about initially when you're installing home automation, tricks and things that you would never stumble across if you weren't someone who's handling this stuff every day. So I would say that it's very valuable to have an installer to come out there, look at your residence, look at your place of business, and set that up for you, because it's going to save you a lot of headaches, I believe, in the long run.
I would agree. I would definitely agree.
Yeah. So, well, I want to ask this for our installers now who are listening to this podcast. If they are a security installer, but they're not installing home automation, tell me, Chris, why should they be doing that? Why are they making a mistake if they're not installing home automation?
So Kwikset is very, very popular. One, especially myself and my colleagues throughout the country. We offer training to any of our security dealers. So your security dealers out there that want to learn a lot more about home automation itself and how to sell it, and the proper way to sell it, the proper way to install it. Kwikset offers that. We're not just pushing our product. We're actually pushing the home automation, because we feel that if we're able to offer this training to them, it's going to make them a lot more comfortable to install it. I think that's where a lot of the problem is the comfortness of installing it. Because if you're not confident in talking about it, selling it, you're going to be even harder to install it. So with that said, the real reason is, the reoccurring revenue that you can get from the consumer. A lot of these platforms out there today require some sort of a quote unquote, let's just say a subscription to be part of it. And, it's also a huge growing market. They're saying right now, by all the homes in the U.S., 5 years ago, 18% of all the homes in the U.S. had some sort of security system. 5 years ago past, which we're talking about today, that has now dropped to 15%.
Really?
Which is actually leading us to believe that the security market at a time was totally flat. Now we're starting to see a decrease in the homes in the U.S. that are starting to get security.
Really?
With that said, yes. So with that said, and that's not coming from our statistics. That's actually coming from a statistics from a company called Kwikset Associates, and they've done a lot of these studies that have where they've questioned and talked to a lot of the consumers. Now they're saying home automation 5 years ago was it like 20 to 22%. 5 years now today, they're between 35 and 38%.
Wow.
And those same statistics, as according to the growth, they're saying by 2021, because of the rapid growth and increase in sales and consumers using a lot more, they're saying by 2021, it'll be between 65 and 70%.
That's wild. That is amazing. Wow. So that's where you need to be.
Yeah, it's definitely where you need to be.
Yeah. You can't ignore that. And I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I can, as someone who's been sitting behind the desk for the past 3 years, working at Norfolk Wire. That is where the interest is. I mean, even when you're online looking at these tech sites, one site I frequent is called cnet.com. That's the new thing. That's when everyone is getting into companies that weren't even known for this. You look at the Amazons and the Googles, that's not where they started. They're leaking into that. Everything is all about making everything smart and automating things.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where it's going. So yeah, if you are a security installer, you've got to do it, because you're missing out on so much. I mean, you really are. You're missing out on so much revenue that you could be getting. So I want to.
Jalen, it's not just about the revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The revenue is a big part of it,
Mm-hmm.
but we're telling our security dealers today, listen, we're not selling the 3 doors of the motion anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We are selling home control. We're not selling. Don't pitch the security when you go out and see a customer.
Mm-hmm.
Pitch home control. Before it would be, hey, our monitoring is, it's $39.95, and that's our security monitoring, and that also comes with your home automation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pitch it a different way. Let's pitch it and say to the customer, listen, it's $39.95 for your home automation, and now we're going to give you the security monitoring for free.
Gotcha.
Even though, as a dealer, the dealer knows that it's already included in the package,
Mm-hmm.
but if the customer in their mind thinks they're getting something for free, they're more likely they're going to buy that product, or they're going to buy from that dealer,
Mm-hmm.
because they know they're getting something for free. You say, listen, our home automation package at $39.95 already includes your security monitoring. If you just want an alarm system, it's $35.95.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you pay an extra $4 a month to get the home automation package?
Yeah.
So you have to spin it differently now to the consumer.
Yeah. And like you said, it's going to take installers being comfortable with it. And I was just literally, and I'm not making this up, I was literally maybe an hour ago talking with one of my clients who is looking at stepping into expanding into home automation. So we're standing on that aisle with the Kwikset. I'm showing him the Kwikset. And one thing I told him was, I can get you the training you need. There's a lot of questions you have.
Sure.
I can tell you don't really know, but I can get you training you need. So anyone listening, I can set you up with a trainer. I can set you up with Chris. And like he said, and I noticed this too. It's in the best interest of someone like Chris to teach you the whole thing, to teach you all of home automation, because the more you know about it, the better it's going to make you at being able to sell these kinds of products and to help customers, because it's very, I don't want to say creative, but there's so much that can be done with it. And I don't think any two projects are going to be the same when you start installing this. But I think looking at it actually could become quite fun. Setting this up for people, whether it's an individual at a residence or businesses. There's really there's no cap on what you can do with this. It is still expanding market, as we can tell by these statistics that we just got
here. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the lock right now
Mm-hmm.
is one of the, and I'm not just saying this from a territory manager from Kwikset. I'm showing this as far as attachment rates.
Mm-hmm.
The lock right now is one of the number one devices that are attached to any home automation system, because it's actually part of the security. It secures the door.
Yeah.
And it's the one and only device that a consumer will touch every single day.
Yep. Thinking the same thing. Everyone in that household is touching that. Yep.
Sure, because what's the first thing you do when you leave the house to go to work? You lock the door. What do you do when you come home? What do you do when you come home? You unlock it. So now you got 5 people in the house. Now there's 10 people now. There's 5 people. They automated that lock 10 times now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is the number one used device in the house and in the home automation.
So let's delve into that a little bit more, because that was my next question. Talk to me about locks. Talk to me about what Kwikset is offering overall in this space in home automation that we should be interested in.
So Kwikset offers a variety of products that meet the consumer's demands. We are part of the Apple Home Kit. We do have a lock out there that works with the Apple Home Kit. Okay. It's called our premise lock. It calls our premise lock. Mm-hmm. We do have a Bluetooth solution out there that's also offered in the consumer market. That's called our Kevo. That's spelled Keveo, which stands for Key Evolved. That's a Bluetooth solution. In my world, we deal with everything that's called Z-Wave or Zigbee, which is the solution that works with most I would say 99.9% of all home automation systems that are out there.
Gotcha.
That includes your everyday security systems, no matter what security panel that's out there, or your online solutions like the Samsung Smart Things or the Vera Hub or any of these other products that are out there. The Kwikset locks work with them.
Gotcha.
So with that said, we offer everything from a simple, push button keypad with 6 buttons that you can buy right now for under $100 from any of the local distributors, or you can go all the way up to our touchscreen. and it's a true touchscreen. We have coming out the end of June our key-free touchscreen solution, and we also have contemporary style locks that are coming out as well. One of the other products that we just released a week ago is called the Kwikset Convert, and it's really a revolutionary product from Kwikset. And it basically, if a customer or a dealer want to change out a lock or add a lock to a home automation system, but they're not real comfortable with taking the hardware off the door and adding a deadbolt or wherever, or maybe the consumer lives in an apartment or they like that, that older style deadbolt that was already on their front door, this lock will actually take over or convert that door or that deadbolt into a Z-Wave lock.
Gotcha.
Simply by removing the tumbler on the inside of the house,
Mm-hmm.
putting our plate on, adding 2 screws, the motor that will connect to the deadbolt, a pack of batteries and a plate, you're ready to go. You can literally install this lock in about 10 to 15 minutes. It turns an old deadbolt, whether it's Kwikset, Schlage, or Baldwin, it'll convert any of those deadbolts over to a Z-Wave lock.
Got it.
And again, the price point's just under $100.
Gotcha.
Or say around $100.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, this is going to work with just about everything, because that
pretty much, yes.
That kind of becomes the issue. There's something new every day. There's a new designer, a new manufacturer every day of different pieces, and you're going to be mixing and matching at some point. You're not going to get everything from the same manufacturer, but it's good to know that if you're dealing with Kwikset locks, there's a 9 times out of 10 it's going to work. It's going to work with what you got.
Absolutely. And we are the #1 U.S. selling lock brand in the country. We have all the top 100 builders in the country. We just signed on, another big, huge national builder this past February. So that was a big win for Kwikset. We deal with all the big national builders, some of the smaller builders we deal with. So Kwikset, is a huge name in the industry, and a lot of consumers know the brand, they know the name, and they know the product. One of the special things about Kwikset locks is that we offer what's called a smart key technology.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that's been patented through us, and we own the patent. So nobody else out there can copy that from us or even use something that's similar. So what's really cool about it is that all of our locks at the cylinder can be rekeyed.
Got it.
And not only can they be rekeyed, but they can't be picked.
Oh, okay.
Which is another great safety feature for the lock. So let's just say you have a customer that has 3 Kwikset door locks on their house, or they bought 3 Kwikset door locks. They can actually rekey all 3 cylinders to 1 key. And let's say that exact same consumer has a vacation home somewhere, or a place up in the mountains, or they have a bunch of rental properties. They can actually rekey that cylinder to that same exact key.
Okay.
The amount of locks that you can rekey it to is infinite. It's one of the great selling features of a Kwikset deadbolt that is offered that no other manufacturer either has or will be able to have.
Before we wrap things up here, you were recently at ISC West, correct?
I was.
You were. So it is, and this is a little bit more for fun. But did you see anything cool, whether from Kwikset or just in the industry as a whole? Where do you think everything's going? Any new developments that we can look off in the far horizon and the maybes and the what ifs? We hear a lot of talk about AI and all of that, but in the security industry, is there anything that you come across that you think is exciting that's happening?
As far as what's going on in the home automation world, or at Kwikset?
Home automation in general.
I think there's a lot of things that are out there that are probably in the development forms. I haven't seen any huge changes yet. One of the things I'd like to see a little bit more of, and some change, and hopefully lowering of the price for a consumer level, would be the shades. for people's homes, like blinds and stuff. That's one thing that I would like to see a big change in. But adding to the Kwikset, to the home automation world, there's irrigation systems that are out there, audio systems that are now being able to be integrated. There's water valves that now can be integrated. There's pool things for pools that you can add now to home automation. It's just going to be such a rapid growing industry, and we think that if you're not on board with it, you got to get on it, because if you're not getting on it, you're going to be left behind.
Because it's limitless, right? If you just sit down and think long enough, you'll come up with something that isn't automated. That, hey, I could probably automate that.
You can.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I think this is like a runaway trend, and like Chris said, hop on it. Now is the time. If you're thinking about it, and tossing over, thinking about costs, I'll get you set up. I'll get you a training. We'll host it here at Norfolk Wire, no charge to you. We'll make this thing happen, because the more people we have on this, everybody wins. Really, everyone wins.
Yep.
It's a win-win scenario. So I want to thank everyone for listening to today's podcast. Share it with your coworkers or someone you know. Now, if you got any questions about this topic specifically, you can email me at jalen.barnes@norfolkwire.com. I'm also going to have Chris's contact information. If you have questions specifically for him about Kwikset, about home automation, this guy knows his stuff. He'll be a great help to you. Chris is going to also provide me with some product sheets about some of the products we talked about today from Kwikset. So if you want some of that information, email me. If you're already on my mailing list, you'll probably already have some of that in the email if you found this podcast in. Just go back to the email, scroll down, you'll see some of this stuff. But if not, and you want to get it from me, I can sign you up to the mailing list, and I can send you the information directly. And anything else you're interested in, once again, you can talk to me, talk to Chris, and we'll be able to help you out. We'll be able to answer your questions. So once again, you can email me at jalen.barnes@norfolkwire.com. If you're not subscribed to my mailing list, sign up today. Just shoot me an email. Any questions or suggestions for future topics, please do so. I will close out today's podcast with a quote from Charles R. Swindoll. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. Thank you for listening. Be blessed, and I'll be back next week to tell you more about what's happening in your industry. Thank you.